Bottom Line Sports Show is back. It's great to be back on the Wednesday edition of the Bottom Line Sports Show. Gerald Brown and the lovely Shantae Cheese. Look at Shantae! Look at Shantae! She put that, look at, she got her highlights in, covering up all that gray. You ain't fooling nobody, yo, geezer. You ain't fooling nobody. That's right, I gotta give it to you, because you know what? Every time I give you a compliment, I don't want your head to start swelling.
I'm not going to say nothing because that's too true. That's so funny.
Shantae, you know what? We're in the midst of the second round. Great show on tap tonight. We're going to be talking to Will Allen. We do understand the draft is right here. It's an outstanding, and I got to say this, you know, kudos to the NFL because they just essentially just come in and dominated and taken over the whole landscape of sports. But I want to start with some, Shantae. Just looking at the whole situation as a whole with the whole playoffs, how surprised are you at the way both Miami and the Miami Heat and the San Antonio Spurs were able to dominate their game ones?
I was shocked by the Spurs last night, pleasantly surprised. I expected them to look old, come out slow. I expected it to be a close game. Of course, I chose them to come out of the West, and I was feeling crazy that I made that pick. But, man, Tony Parker just came out and, like, laid the smack down. He was putting in work from the moment the clock started, and I think they even shocked the Trailblazers. Like, they didn't know what was going on. They were shocked. Tony Parker just created shots for everybody. He was doing his work as a PG. Everybody chipped in. The bench was so deep. Everybody put in work. It was great to see. I haven't seen them play like that in a long time.
Yeah, you know, I got to say that I was also surprised because, you know, I thought really that in terms of the whole, you know, the Spurs and the Heat, you know, old legs. In terms of the Spurs, I thought the old legs would be an issue, but more so the Miami Heat had a long layoff, and they were able to come in and essentially just really impose their will, specifically in the second half, on the Brooklyn Nets, and I was really just surprised about that and seeing how that.
You know what, Gerald? I wasn't surprised at Miami. Miami was Miami. I was more shocked at Brooklyn. Like, they didn't come to play. They didn't come to win. KG was nowhere to be found. Nobody played defense in the paint. They just looked dead. With a little more than 6 minutes to go in the game, Jason Kidd had his starters on the bench playing the bench players. It was like he gave up. I mean,
I think that, you know what, the emotional high, you know, really of playing in a game 7 that Sunday, and then you turn around and you have to get ready that Tuesday. Shorter period of time. I don't like to always make excuses because, again, these guys are accustomed to playing back-to-backs, and they had a day off in between. They got ready for the Miami Heat, but I was surprised about that. But San Antonio, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect them to really just come out and basically have their way with the Portland Trailblazers. Shantae, now we went back and forth on Twitter about this yesterday. Hit us up on Twitter at Beeline Sports about the firing of Mark Jackson. I took offense to it, and I heard his comments, his interview today, and in just one of his interviews on Dan Patrick's show, you can clearly see that this is really bothering him, and for him to speak out and really just want to set set everything straight, set the record straight. I can't make it. There's no way to make any sense of him being fired, Shantae, and I'm sorry. There's no way. I cannot justify it at all.
Well, you can't justify it because you weren't a part of the organization, Gerald. I see where you're coming from.
But Shantae, you get wins. Shantae.
I get it. Like, he's a great coach. They won. They have a lot of talent on that team. It's not like they were winning and they had scrubs. They have some great pieces on that team. They have a championship caliber team in Golden State. Now, he did coach them well, and the players seem to love him. But what I'm saying is, I'm not totally shocked because there seemed to be throughout the season some issues with him and the front office people, which he alluded to in his interview with Dan Patrick. I mean, he was doing his job, but not the job that they also wanted him to do. I also heard rumors about him and Jerry West not necessarily getting along and how he banned them from a few practices or something. Um, and then there's the assistant coach that went to the D League. I mean, there seemed to be some stuff going on, some diva-like, you know, attitudes going on. And I don't want to place the blame on Mark Jackson because I don't work for that organization, but I can see where if they felt they didn't want to deal with that personality clash or attitude, you know, maybe they felt like they could get another coach and take this team to the championship.
But Shantae, this is where I disagree with you. And one of the things about it is, if you're going to do something that's not going to be well received, there's going to be information, misinformation put out. And in that same interview, he said he never threw and asked Jerry West not to come to practice. You know, it was never an issue in terms that he didn't know that they wanted him to live in San Francisco, you know, in the Bay Area. When the fact he said that if he lived in San Francisco with his family, he would have been spending less time at the facility as opposed to the time he spent now because his family is in LA. So I just really think that, you know, so many different things was brought out, you know, in terms of these guys and the communication. So many things that I think that if you look at it, if you're going to make a decision that's not really a popular decision and you try to find ways to justify it without looking like the bozo that you are, put some misinformation out there. And that's what it is. A gentleman that's been there 3 years and improved each and every single year. Majority of the players say that they love playing for him. Now, there was rumors that guys felt that there was preferential treatment given to Steph Curry. Shantae, that's in all walks of life. You know, Robert Sacre is not treated the same way Kobe Bryant is. That's just the life. And
Right.
if that was the situation where I really felt that it was more personal stuff in terms of, you know, oh, his offense, it was too ISO driven. Well, you win 50 games. You became a organization that people wanted to see. You became a relevant organization. And the sad thing about it is, how do you know, I mean, if you just peel back the layers, there's nothing that I could sit back and say, okay, that's why you should have fired him. There's nothing. It's
Right.
not at all.
I don't think it had anything to do with his coaching style. I don't think it had anything to do with their season. I think it had something to do with him personally and the front office. And that's it. So as spectators, we're not going to get it. I mean, by all accounts, he should still be coaching the Golden State Warriors. But I mean, they fired him, and they had a winning season, and they made the playoffs. And they played it. They barely lost to a tough team in the Clippers. So I'm sure they had to have a good reason as to why they got rid of him. And now the pressure's on them because they got to do better next season without him.
Yeah, here on the Bottom Line Sports Show, Gerald Brown, Shantae Cheeks, upcoming Will Allen. We got Cole Muzio of DraftTech.com. We also have Rita Hubbard joining us. J.R. Holden, is J.R. coming? Is J.R. coming tonight, Shantae, or what's J.R. doing? He's changing diapers? I don't know. Is he changing diapers?
As far as I know, JR's coming. You know, he coaches the AAU team. He helps the AAU team out, so he's probably running a little late.
J.R. You can't be coaching kids in Russian, all right, J.R.? But, you know, I'm just having a hard time justifying it. If I'm a fan of the Golden State Warriors, I would be very upset. You just don't mess with something that is such a unique thing, which is chemistry. And when you have chemistry, you have these players, because whoever comes in there, the bar is set so high. And this is a franchise that wasn't accustomed to winning before he got there. So now they come in, it's going to be a challenge. And I just think that I don't know. I just think that they made a major mistake, and it's just going to be really interesting. Now, you know, Shantae, should we start now? Right now, it's a 1-point lead for the Indiana Pacers. Should we now start taking the Washington Wizards serious after winning game one in Indiana the other night?
You got to. Absolutely. They're just good. They are playing, you know, great team basketball. they're another team that they just have a lot of great pieces. I don't know if it's the coaching or the team, and I just wrote them off in the beginning because they're the Wizards and they never win. I just write the whole organization off. But those guys, Nene, Ariza, John Wall, they're just doing work down there. You got to respect them.
Yeah, I respect their first round. I thought it was very impressive that they picked off the Chicago Bulls, a really team that, again, struggled to score. And I was really impressed. However, I'm just not really sold on them yet because the fact is, it is the Washington Wizards. And then on top of that, this is a team that, they've never done this. I mean, as a group, collectively, they've been able to, as a group, they've never gotten this far. They haven't gotten this far in quite some time. So I just keep thinking that, they caught Indiana in game one. Again, Bradley Beal had a phenomenal game. But I just keep thinking in the back of my head that, it's going to catch up to them. It looks like, and hopefully it'll be a long series. But it's just really surprising to see that, again, I'm not ready to give them that nod to say that they will be, really just mop the floor with the Indiana Pacers.
I mean, they have a chance at beating the Pacers because the Pacers are playing horrible basketball. It's a really bad Pacers team against the Washington Wizards, who are playing really great basketball, so they have a chance to take this series. If they take the series, if Indiana can't get it together, they don't go past the next round for sure. I mean, so it's not like they'll win it all, but kudos to the Wizards for even making it this far because I think it was like early 80s since the last time they've done something great.
No, it wasn't that early 80s. They had the teams with Chris Webber and Rasheed Wallace.
How far did they go? They won the first round in the playoffs?
Again, it's just it's gotten to the point. I just think that, one of the things that we should learn, and I'm not going to harp on this whole situation with Mark Jackson. One of the things we need to learn as fans and people that understand the whole situation, you can't go too fast in the expectations of a franchise. I think it clearly, by the Washington Wizards, what we said before, the Washington Wizards, let them take baby steps. Let them take baby steps, and hopefully they'll be in the right direction, headed in the right directions coming soon. Joining us now is a great friend to the show. Again, this man is hard working. He's all over the place. Oh, please, don't put up that Ohio State. I thought you was about to show Ohio State something, man. Will Allen joining us. Mr. Allen, how you doing today?
What's good, brother?
I'm doing well, man. He was a hard man to catch up during Super Bowl week, but I'm not mad at you, man. You was taking care of business. I'm not mad at you.
Yeah, man. I'm not even in New York. I know we try to get. I'm thinking I should have came up to New York this week for the draft. Maybe I can catch up with you then. We missed each other all Super Bowl, man.
When I was downtown, you was over here. You went to the Nike stuff, and then we went to the parties and stuff like that. We would talk about the different events and stuff. I thought you was gonna go to the ESPN party, and you stayed over at the Maxim party. So I guess it was definitely a good look.
ESPN Maxim.
Yeah, it was just,
They probably had the models out at that party.
Well, ESPN wasn't nothing to sit there. I'm just gonna say this. It wasn't a sword fest, all right? It wasn't a sword fest. It wasn't that. Will, thanks again for joining us, man. Really appreciate it. With the draft starting tomorrow, as an active player, how much attention do you pay to the draft itself?
It's always a level of curiosity there. You always want to see where certain guys go. Hopefully, we can get some players, some drafted players from college to help us out. But I definitely think it's definitely worthwhile to watch it. Obviously, I want to see where all the Buckeyes go. So, I'm excited about it, man. I think it's going to be a good draft. I don't pay too much attention to it, but, there is some people I look out for and some specifics I want to see.
Yeah, that's well said.
We'll talk about your draft night when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, called you and announced that you'll be playing for them. Now, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Were you like, oh, I was hoping to play for the Cowboys, or like, really? Can I play for the Giants? Like,
he experienced that, and he know what happened there. Okay. Just wipe that from your, just wipe that from your memory, Will.
What was your reaction? Like, what was the feeling?
Uh, honestly, I thought I was gonna get drafted higher than what I did, so it was somewhat bittersweet. Um, but I was very thankful, to go to the Buccaneers. That was one of the teams, I liked. I liked when Dungy was coaching there. I liked the players they had, and I knew I had an opportunity to learn under some great players. But I guess the bitter part about it at the time was I thought I was going to be drafted higher, and I felt like I should have, and I felt like it was a lot of guys that got drafted higher than me in my position that wasn't better than me. But the chips fell as they were, and I got drafted where I did. I'm very thankful for that, and I went down there and learned from some great players. I wasn't nervous at all. It's just a waiting game, and you hate that waiting, and you hate that waiting game.
Yeah. Will
Yeah.
Allen joining us here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. Gerald Brown, Shantae Cheeks, upcoming Rita Hubbard, as well as Cole Muzio of DraftTech.com. Uh, what was that first thought after you heard your name and after hearing your name announced on TV? What was the first thought, Will? Keep it 100, man. Come on, don't tell me that. Oh, you said. Tell me what was that first thought, okay? Because I'm going to tell you what my first thought would have been. Mama, I'm rich. I'm rich, Mama. I'm rich. I'm rich, Mama. I got it, Mama. I got it.
Um,
On the ball, Penny Hardaway's gold fronts.
nah.
Like this, yo, I'm rich, boy, I'm rich.
Nah, man.
What was that first thought, man? Come on, tell it.
Honestly, it was just like, let's work. I was ready to work. I was ready.
We can't hear you. Say it again.
Can you hear me fine?
Yeah.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay.
Hold on. Am I breaking?
Now
Can you
you
hear me?
good, man. You good? So what you saying? You
All
just
right.
ready to work?
Yeah, I was just ready to work, man. I was ready to work. I was thankful. You know, they had just won a Super Bowl 2 years again. So I was excited. I was like, it was bittersweet, but I was just like, let's go to work. Let's do this, So that was my mindset. Like, I'm ready to work, ready to get down there, and I'm ready to make it happen.
How many people asked you to ball? Let me hold some after that happened right there.
People still asking me to hold some.
Let me
Still
hold
asking me to hold
some.
some. Like, what you want to hold my bag? You can hold my bag. You can hold my coat. No money.
That's one of the things you got to be accustomed to, being able to say no. Because, again, I do imagine as a professional athlete, it does get a little crazy and stuff. And I remember telling a young man who plays for the Houston Rockets, Francisco Garcia, when he got drafted, I said, learn to tell people no in English and in Spanish, okay? And even have to raise the finger and stuff, because you know what? If you don't, it'll be crazy. It definitely
Yeah, it can get out of hand. It can
Yeah.
really get out of hand.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that headache at all. Now you're playing for the Steelers. You left the Cowboys, playing for the Steelers. You're on a veteran team. Do you think that turns the pressure up to be successful, to make it to the playoffs and try to get further?
Well, it's always a level of expectation when you're with the Steelers. It's playoffs or nothing. It's Super Bowl or nothing, and that's just how we operate. That's just how we roll. You know, it really has changed my mindset and how I look at the game, how I look at my job, and how I look at my just my craft. And because everybody's mindset is that the last 2 years we didn't make it to the playoffs, and it sucks. We 12-4 and 8-8. That's and then well 8-8 and 8-8. I'm sorry, and don't make it to the playoffs. One game away both times. So it sucks. It really does. And this year we gotta do it. There ain't no excuses about that.
Just rightfully so. Will Allen joining us here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. Will, I remember, we were texting back and forth during the course of the Super Bowl time, and just trying to get an idea. I think you laughed about it because I said, when you think you'll sign, and you was talking about, and just trying to get an idea in terms of when you thought you would sign. And, as veterans, kind of thought that perhaps you might, if guys would sign after the draft or whatever. You were able to sign pretty early, re-sign with the Steelers. Just talk about just really how much of a blessing that was for you to be able to have the off season to really just understand that know that you're going to be in a place you're already familiar with after coming there middle of the season, but also more importantly, again, just really focusing on preparing yourself for the upcoming season.
It's a definitely a high level of comfortability. I love being there. I didn't have to move like I did going to Dallas. I didn't have to deal with a new environment. I know what I'm gonna get. They know what they're gonna get out of me. But it pushes me. It doesn't keep me complacent because I want to be better than what I was the year before, and I want to make the team better than what it was the year before. And we both have an affinity towards each other, so that just takes the accountability level up for me. But again, it kept me at peace. It's a lot of guys out there that still don't have jobs. A lot of safeties out there that still wondering where they're gonna land. Man, I'm just thankful every day. Going into my 11th year, at least I know where I'm gonna be, and I can put forth all my effort. Man, it is a blessing, as you said. Absolutely.
Yeah, just to be able to get it out the way, and I was really happy for you, man, because you know what, he's one of the good guys that's in the NFL, and again represents himself very, very well. Will Allen joining us here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. Gerald Brown, Shantae Cheeks.
Well, talk about the National Day of Giving and how you got involved with that.
Well, it's interesting, because I'm always looking. It's a nationwide day of giving, and it was kind of created by this nonprofit organization called Give Local America, and what they do is they inspire local community foundations all over in every state almost to kind of push for other smaller nonprofits to raise money, and it's free, something free you can get involved with, and it's interesting because you get to learn more about what other nonprofits are doing, and I learned a lot about my nonprofit and online giving and what that's about. Like, I spent a lot of time trying to educate myself and read up on um, different ways of fundraising, different ways of making my brand better, different ways of helping other people, so we can expand our reach and impact other people, impact all different types of people. So this is just one way I came across it on Twitter. Matter of fact, just looking up different nonprofits, and I ended up reading about it and reading about Give Local America, and they also work with a company called Network for Good, and Network for Good gives free webinars on education seminars of some of the best people in the business on how to handle your nonprofit, how to make it better. And I get on those probably once a month, twice a month, just to educate myself and keep myself abreast of what's new, what's trending, and how to stay ahead of the curve.
Well, you know what? I just want to piggyback up on that what you just talked about. And again, your Will Allen Foundation, you've had it for quite some time, and you've been one of these individuals that really do a lot of the stuff during the course of the season and really get yourself integrated into the communities of the cities that you played in, Tampa, as well as your hometown in the state of Ohio, along with Pittsburgh. Just in a general, and I know it might sound stupid, but I just really ask you to share what made you do this. I mean, again, young guy, you're coming in, and what made you really just have this thirst to really help others when essentially they were outside of your family member?
Honestly, I would just sit on the couch, man, and I was so bored. It was like in my second year in the season, and I was like, I need to be doing something. I can't just be sitting here on the couch, twiddling my thumbs and watching the news all day in Sports Center. And I said, man, I need to be doing something. People have helped me in my life. People have inspired me and taught me so much. Like, I need to be giving that back. So I just decided to go help mentor and tutor little eighth grade boys, at a charter school in Tampa. And that just sparked my interest. That sparked me wanting to help kids. And I just remember how much coaches impacted me, teachers impacted me, um, people's parents impacted me. People who came and spoke, how much it meant to me. And I wanted to give something back. Not only to those eighth graders, but then I aspired to start something for high school students. And the ball just kept rolling. The thought processes just kept going. And so I just decided, man, I just want to meet people's needs and help people that can never repay me back. And if I had a platform and ability to do it, it's definitely my responsibility. you know, it's the least I can do.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
yeah, go ahead, Shantae. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I love that. I think all athletes should do that. You have a huge platform, and you should use it for that. And people appreciate it, and everyone you helped, they're gonna remember that. That's gonna be one day in their life that they remember. Um, so I love that. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, honestly, my true inspiration is my father because, you know, he you know, we grew up in the hood, and our house is like the sanctuary for all the kids. You need dinner, you want to come play hoops. You know, he take his arm around the kid, you know, mentor him, talk to him about life. He was a football coach, baseball coach. You know, he just did all these things. You know, he was picking up kids, driving all around town, trying to get kids to the YMCA, get kids to the baseball field, get kids to the football field. It was like he was always moving, even after he was working all day. And I seen that, and I didn't really know, but now, you know, 20 some years later, you know, them same kids. Oh, Mr. Allen, man, I appreciate that talk you gave me. I appreciate you doing this. I'm like, man, you just can't see the impact you'll have on somebody's life at that moment. But 20 years later, those same folks, man, is impacted just by those small, you know, gestures that my dad did.
Yeah. Will, I'm not going to hold you too long and stuff. Again, Will Allen joining us here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. Now, I know you have some other things that's coming up. Talk about some of the things you have coming up with the Will Allen Foundation. I believe it was a spring soiree. I think you pushed it back and stuff. Give us any information in regards to things you have upcoming.
Yeah, we're looking to do that in Columbus. I mean, not Columbus, Pittsburgh in the fall, around football season. It's going to be a good time. We had a football camp last April. It was a great turnout. We had like almost 300 kids show up. You know, it was we had a
Where did you do that?
great.
Where did you do the
We
kids
did that
football
in
camp?
Columbus. We did a football camp in Columbus. I had
Okay.
Jermichael Finley there, Jonathan Casillas. Um, who else? Man, I had Mike Doss there. I had a whole bunch of Buckeyes and NFL guys come out. Man, it was a great turnout. Man, we helped those kids. Man, they got some free food, free T-shirts, all type of stuff. Man, so and learn how to play football. So it was good, man. I mean, Beats by Dre came through. We gave headphones out
Wow.
to some of the kids. My boy over there, GW, you know, hooked it up. You know, it was a great time, man. It was just a wonderful time, and you know, it was a good time. But the spring soiree, we're looking to do it in the fall. I definitely keep y'all posted and, you know, send y'all information about it. And it's gonna be in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Will Allen joining us here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. Now, Will, the NBA playoffs are right around the corner. And Shantae, I got to say this. We're going to bring Will Allen on the Sirius XM NBA show on Saturday. We're going to make his debut. We're going to show that, you know what, he's versatile.
Wait, who's he rooting for first?
We got to find that out.
Oh man, I don't know. My team is the Celtics, and they just in shambles right now.
Okay,
So
so root for Brooklyn then. Root for Brooklyn.
She's a Heat fan, so again, you have to excuse her.
I'm not a Heat fan. Don't say that. Don't say that, rumors.
Root for Brooklyn. I like my boy Paul Pierce and my boy KG. Like I still love them. I just can't root for Brooklyn though. Like I can't do it. Like I just can't do it.
Well, now I looked at the schedule, man, and I'm determined. I'm going to do two things. I want to do two things. I'm going to send you a jersey. I'm going to buy a jersey, a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey. I want you to sign it for me and stuff because I know it's crazy getting the jersey. I'm going to buy the jersey. I want to put it up. We're going to put it up in here and all that stuff and put it up on the Wall of Fame. But also, I'm going to come to the game, man. What I got to do, I mean, you guys come up here August 9th. It's warm then. But I think you also come back in November, I believe, to play against the Jets and stuff. I'm determined to come and see you play because
Yeah, man. Just just give me the word. Ain't nothing, man. It'll be great to see you. Great to hang out with you. We missed each other this year.
Yeah.
We missed each.
Are you coming back to New York? What's your schedule like for the rest of the summer?
I'm gonna try to come like sometime in July. I really am.
Okay.
Because he doesn't sound confident, Gerald.
Nah, you know.
It's hard because right now it's like only thing you're thinking about is training and getting ready. Like, you know what I mean? That's it. Like, I mean, maybe a weekend. I'll take a little weekend trip over there. It's only like a 5-hour drive, 6-hour drive from Pittsburgh, so it ain't bad. It ain't bad.
Yeah, definitely. Again, that drive and stuff like that. But definitely, enjoy having you come up here, man, and hang out with us and stuff for a weekend and stuff. But yeah, I did pick up on that, Shantae. You picked up on it as
Yeah,
well.
I'm gonna try. I mean, July. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying. I want to.
Come on, Shantae. You supposed to be on my side. You
You
throw me
got
under
it.
the bus.
You know what I'm saying?
You throw me under the bus right now. What's up, man?
Yeah, man, it's like a 5-hour drive. I'm gonna be, I'm tired. I'm playing.
6 hours, like, oh, you know, it's like,
Oh, man.
yeah, I want to come up there in July, and you know, camp is starting in August, so I'm like, July is like, you know, it's like.
Don't be surprised if you don't see me.
Nah, but you know what? I understand, man. You know, I definitely understand. The fact is that it takes a lot to really prepare yourself for a grueling season, and you know, definitely, like I said before, if you do come up, man, always a pleasure. Love to get to hang out with you and stuff, because I haven't seen Will Allen since he was gracious enough to come to Stedman's golf outing and stuff, and it really came out to that and was a part of that festive event. But you know, as always, Will, I appreciate you, man, and really just taking some time out. Let everybody know, website, all the information you want right now, man, and how people continue to be able to support all the great things that you're doing moving forward.
Yeah, Joe, I appreciate you too, man. You know,
Anytime, man.
I think we got a great friendship, man, and a great relationship, man. And you're a great man, man. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate everything that you do and that you're gonna continue to do, man. And you know, I'm here to support you. You know that, but you know, if you go to WillAllenFoundation.com, or you can go to Will Allen WAF. That's Twitter. That's Instagram. That's Facebook. You know, whatever. Everything's Will Allen WAF, and you can learn more about, you know, what we do, and you know how we impact youth, how we impact people. So that's really about it.
Yeah, no, man, definitely. And before I let you get on out of here, Will, what's the future hold for you, man? I mean, in terms of just outside of football or just in general, you know, I mean, keep playing as long as you can and getting that check as long as you can. What's the future hold for Will Allen?
I want to go back to school, man. I want to go back to school and get my my MBA in energy management. You know, it's an energy degree, you know, about the business of energy, not the science, but the business of it. So I want to learn about that, work for, you know, maybe a company, or even start my own company, consulting company that deals with, you know, alternative energy and, you know, just how you can make energy more efficient for people and for companies, but still be profitable. You know, that's just a dream of mine, and I'm very intrigued by it. And you know, I want to explore it. I want to get into it.
So no broadcasting. I'm surprised. No broadcasting.
I might do that on the side. I think it's a great opportunity to expand your brand and who you are, and to show your knowledge about sports. And but you know, it's not something that I think would definitely be fulfilling. You know, I love it, but at the end of the day, you know, I want to do something that really truly changes lives and impacts people's lives. Not saying that sports broadcasting doesn't, because people love sports and sports changes people's lives.
But it doesn't define you.
It doesn't define me, right?
Well said, man. Well, I tell you this, as always, man, I just applaud and I admire everything that you stand for. I mean, how you carry yourself on and off the football field. And, you know, I'm a big fan of yours, man, and rooting for you. And if you decide to come this way, man, I got a dinner on me. Go out, get something to eat, man. Take you over to have you up in the studio and hang out in New York, man. And definitely look forward to kicking it with you, man. But always look forward to having you on Saturday, hanging out with us and talking. But continued success, brother, in all that you do. And we here, man. Anything we could do, man, and really support the cause and let everybody know the great works you're doing for so many people that, you know, like I said before, you don't have to, but I really applaud you, because it takes a special person to care about others outside of their family. I salute you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man.
Always a
Appreciate
pleasure.
it. Much love. Much love.
Talk to you soon. Will Allen joining us.
Go Cowboys.
Don't you say that, man.
Look, you better stop that. You better learn how to say. You better learn how to say Stiller Nation.
Thanks again, Will.
All right, peace.
Peace. Will Allen joining us. Oh, man. Shantae, you don't insult no guests like that. You sit up there throwing out that cowboy. Cowboy. Will's a great guy. Will's a great guy, man. And I'm determined to go to one of the games. I'm going to go to the games. I'm going to go. I was hoping that JR would have been on here because I would have wanted to hear the banner back and forth of the Steelers and Pittsburgh and just all that stuff. But I'm determined to check out a game and stuff like that. And Will's always good people. So looking forward to catching up with him. And remember, here on the Bottom Line Sports Show, Gerald Brown, Shantae Cheeks. Check out WillAllenFoundation.com. Will Allen WAF on Twitter. I just applaud him, man. And like I said before, he's bigger than sports. Just bigger than sports. And just continue to stay in conversation and communication, and always communicate with them via text from time to time, and just develop a great relationship. And really, just a truly amazing individual.
How cool was it that he wants to go back to school and possibly start or work for a company where they're going green energy? Or I've never expected to hear that out of an athlete's mouth.
He lying. He lying.
Yeah.
He want to give you that old educator like, well, I love to go back to school to get my MBA. Energy efficiency, really helps them. No,
that's cool. That was cool.
But I think it says a lot. I mean, it really, says a lot about who he is, and really being an individual that, sports just doesn't define him. And I'm really happy for him because this is a guy, like I said before, when he went to the Dallas Cowboys, and being a part of that, I thought there was a need there. He was going to be able to fit in. And then all of a sudden he got cut midway through the season. And it was just one of those situations. And we all understand, the shelf life, if you will, of a football player. When you get around your 30, 31, it's like, the clock is really ticking in terms of will you be, how much longer you're able to play. And it's just really fascinating that he was able to, get back there and play for an organization that he's very familiar with, and that being the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's 31 years old. I can't believe I'm 14 years older than that. He's my little nephew. You're my little nephew. Shut up, William. He driving 6 hours. Hey, you called about that. I appreciate that, Shantae Cheeks. You got my back. You called about that. Hit me with the okie doke, He trying to hit me with the okie doke like that.
You better make it to a game. You better make it to a game, Gerald. He ain't making that drive.
Exactly, man. It's like, I mean, it would have been even more convincing if he would have said, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna fly out there. He hit me with the drive for 6 hours.
It's like 9 hours. I don't know.
Nah, it's 6 hours, but it's like, oh boy, come on, man. You hit me with that okie doke. It's great to have Will on here. So, Shantae, I know we were talking about, again, I want to go back a little NBA playoffs, and I want to just talk on this. Kevin Durant's speech. Getting the MVP trophy. First and foremost, your thoughts on his speech, and how much of that really do you believe will have an impact on his team tonight?
Oh, it's going to help them tremendously. I felt every word that he said in that speech. I was almost in tears. He was great, and he meant everything he said. I love that he, had something to say for each and every player and the way that they helped him out on the court and off the court. I think that it just helped the team camaraderie. I think it helped bring them together and to rally for tonight's game. I think it's going to be big.
Yeah.
Now whether they can hold off Chris Paul, I don't know, but I think they're going to play much better than they did in Game 1.
Yeah, I think that. Look, I think that one of the things about Kevin Durant is one of his knocks is he's just too much of a good guy. I think he carries himself in such a dignified manner, and it's very hard to find fault when somebody comes there and basically as a young man. And I've always said this about, so much is focused on the negativity that is associated with some of these young athletes that really can't figure out things. But we don't give a lot of credit to these young players such as LeBron James and Kevin Durant, these gentlemen that carry themselves in such a dignified manner that easily they're sort of they're schooled well before, their age and stuff, and just really what they resonate and connect with people. And I've been such a big fan of Kevin Durant because you clearly see how much he means to that city. But in terms of on the basketball court, it'll be really interesting. I just think that this is a limited team in terms of what they're able to do offensively. But I got one for you. They don't make it out of this round. Scott Brooks has shown the door. Mark Jackson, do you pick up the phone?
I think somebody's going to pick up the phone for Mark Jackson before then, though. I think he's probably sometime this week. There's so many teams. New York, L.A., I mean.
Yeah, but it has to be a good fit. I think, I was talking with somebody and they told me that it's a situation where I think him and Phil Jackson, they had some issues and stuff in terms of didn't really feel that he had.
I don't think he'll fit well with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Possibly in New York.
Lakers or the Knicks. I think that
Oh, okay.
The Knicks situation. I don't know. I mean, it'd be great. It'd be a great story for him to come back home. Mm-hmm. But in terms of him going back, I tell you a team that I would love for him to go to, and if it's not OKC or Houston, I would love for him to go to Minnesota. And the only reason why is because this is an organization that, has struggled to make the playoffs, has struggled, and it's just that this team is offensively, they're gifted, they have a lot of pieces in place, and if you're able to come there and perhaps infuse some type of defensive presence there, this team could be really, really something special, and he's proven that he can coach,
But Kevin Love is out of there. I don't think he's going to stay in Minnesota. So that's a big, big monkey wrench.
This is definitely true. Here on the Bottom Line Sports Show, Gerald Brown, Shantae Cheeks, upcoming. Rita Hubbard, Cole Muzio of DraftTech.com. Shantae, the NFL draft is tomorrow. And in the midst of the NBA playoffs, go figure. The NFL is saying they don't care who you are. You can't touch them. With the NFL draft starting tomorrow, well, the most interesting thing being this year's draft, Shantae, will be which team selects Johnny Manziel?
I think people will be watching for that because it's been hyped, like on TV, on ESPN, for weeks now. But I think people want to know who's picking Clowney. He's been number one since he's been in high school. I mean, sure. Manziel is like he's like the reality show. Everybody wants to see who's going to grab him, so he's exciting. But there's better players than him in the draft. But we'll all be watching to see, if Manziel gets picked up in the first round, and if so, how high.
Yeah, let me ask you something. In comparisons, bigger height, Tim Tebow coming out of college or Johnny Manziel? Which one would you say has the bigger height?
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah?
I mean, he's not only does he have a lot of hype, but he puts himself in the spotlight. He's with rappers. He's doing crazy things, in the club. It's himself. He's self-promoting, sort of Mayweather style, and the internet and the ESPNs, they're all promoting him.
Yeah. Now, Shantae, there's been reports that if he falls to 16, the Dallas Cowboys might entertain taking him. As a Dallas Cowboy fan, would you take this guy? And if that's the case, do you start? I mean, is there any way you can have this young man sit for an entire season if you take him at the 16th pick?
It just seems like teams aren't doing that anymore. If we take I'm not a fan of taking Manziel, especially at a high pick. And if we do, I'd rather him sit behind Romo for at least a year. But nowadays, teams aren't doing that. Yeah. I predict that they'll start him, be foolish and start him, and trade Romo somewhere.
Well, I mean, honestly, do you see the handwriting on the wall that the time is drawing near for Tony Romo to possibly be traded or move some other place? I mean, this back injury, we've seen guys like Jason Pierre-Paul. He came back last year. It wasn't 100%. We saw Dwight Howard in a different sport. Wasn't 100%. It generally takes a year for a guy to recover from that. is the handwriting on the wall that inevitably the Dallas Cowboys have to use this draft, regardless of it's Johnny Manziel or not, to really start looking for Tony Romo's replacement?
The window is closing on Tony Romo, and I hate to say that because I mean that's my quarterback. I love Tony Romo.
You sound like T.O. You sound just like T.O. for a second. It's my quarterback. It's my quarterback.
For me, definitely top 10, and not even in the bottom of top 10 quarterbacks in the league. He's a great asset. There's so many messed up things with the Cowboys. We can't pin it all on Tony Romo, even though we like to. But we have so many other issues to fix. But the Tony Romo window is closing because as a quarterback, the team rests on your shoulders, and he hasn't been able to get it done. If we can't even make it to the playoffs, I mean, what are we doing?
Well, I mean, again, this guy gave you all that he could, and unfortunately he gets hurt. I think it was the game before the champion or the final game of the season. Mm-hmm. Kyle Orton plays an admirable game, but he comes, one throw away from possibly leading the team down the field and being able to score a touchdown and perhaps win the game. So it's just really unfortunate. But you're right. None of the blame should really just rest on the shoulders of a Tony Romo. But still in all, it's kind of one of those situations that inevitably, you see the handwriting on the wall that you have to start looking that way. How surprised are you that throughout this whole draft process of mock drafts, nobody's talking about running backs? How surprised are you, Shante, that the running back position has been so devalued to the point that we might see it eliminated?
Actually, very surprised because the running back position is my favorite position. And that's something that Dallas needs so bad because DeMarco Murray, God bless his heart, he's a beast, but he's injured a lot. So, I mean, I feel like every team could use a good running back, but the league is evolving into, a passing league, and the quarterback is where you need to go when you need wide receivers. So, not a lot of teams are running the ball effectively anymore.
Yeah, it's and I agree with you. I think that it's become such a passing league. And Shante, you know this. One of the things is that one of the situations is that yes, I just got a text. K says I'm watching you with Shante Cheeks, and y'all have a basketball play on. And I don't know. He's just talking about. I don't know. Sick K's talking about. But getting back to that. Think about it this way: when we play fantasy football.
He must be talking about me, Gerald. He's definitely not talking about you.
Oh, please.
Only one of us is a basketball player.
I'll have you know that I'm dealing with a knee injury that I injured playing basketball, and I was looking effectively out there. But I'm on the shelf for perhaps maybe 4 to 6 weeks and stuff. So Shante, she could bask in the glory that, yeah, she could be able to run up and down the court. But Shante Cheeks, as you all know, for as long as she's been on this show, she don't play any defense. She don't play no defense at all. And defense is not even in her vocabulary.
Get out of here.
And she's a foul waiting to happen. She done got dolled up. She don't know how to get down and dirty on the defensive side. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. You can't say she ready to go outside and play some ball. She can't get out there and get out hoop.
Call me Dennis Rodman.
But Shante, when I was mentioning about in terms of fantasy football, we look at running backs and you sit back and say, wow, a guy like Eddie Lacy didn't really get going until the weather started changing. So you're talking about a season that starts in September, and then perhaps maybe about October, November, running backs start to get going. And I think it was so evident this year when you had so many guys like Ray Rice and Stephen Ridley. Guys struggle, really, really struggle. Do you think that we'll inevitably see a day where there won't be a running back there?
No. I don't think the game will change in that way. I think the running back is still a very important part of the game. As you say, like a Ray Rice, when you have a Ray Rice, well, you know what? When he was playing the game, he wasn't even playing that well. But when your running backs aren't performing and you can't, and your passing game is not on that day, you can't win a football game. You need the running back.
Well, it's just not a position that you have to really have to have somebody per se, a skilled guy. in terms of, because the league has evolved into a passing league, that maybe you don't have to have sort of a skill guy. Because think about it this way. There are potentially guys like Carlos Hyde, young man out of Ohio State, that Will Allen knows very well. A lot of these guys are potentially not going to go to maybe second or third round. I mean, it seems like every other position is more valued than a running back. It's just really fascinating. And like I said before, what we saw in this year's draft, in this year's fantasy football league, you can understand why. You know, you're going to draft a quarterback in fantasy football before you draft a running back. You know, so I mean, that's really interesting. Here on the Bottom Line Sports Show, Gerald Brown, Shantae Cheeks. Upcoming 10 o'clock, we're going to have Miss Rita Hubbard, Cole Muzio, going to talk some NFL draft. Shantae, now you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys.
What do you know about drafting in fantasy football anyway? You're horrible. If you're listening, I don't want you to take any drafting advice from Gerald Brown. Farther than pick your quarterback first. Coming in last place giving fantasy advice.
You ready to do Vegas? I mean, wait, you ready to do Caesar's Palace or something like that? I mean, how about a hand for Shantae Cheeks? Not only she knows sports, but she's a comedian. Unbelievable. I was not giving fantasy football advice. I'll just have you know that league that you had us in was rigged, and I figured it out. It was rigged. It was rigged. JL comes in there, and he all of a sudden, it was rigged. I mean, hey, I don't know. Your favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys, are going to be picking. They're going to have a lot of things going on. What position would you like to see them upgrade in this draft?
Oh, man, we need some defense. We need safety. So ironic that we got rid of Will Allen, let him go. We need a safety. We need a running back. We need a backup for Murray. And besides that, I think we need a wide receiver.
Yeah. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers definitely have. I mean, unfortunately, they only have 5 picks in this year's upcoming NFL draft. They definitely need a wide receiver, and I would like to see some help on the offensive line, and then perhaps maybe a pass rushing linebacker. They need to really be able to put some pressure on the quarterbacks, but a wide receiver, really a healthy wide receiver, and maybe I would like to. I'm gonna get greedy. You need
to be. Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to be greedy.
I'm getting greedy. I feel like a bobblehead. I'm getting greedy. I want a tight end, a wide receiver, offensive lineman, and as well as a offensive lineman and a pass rushing specialist.
You just want a whole new team, Gerald. Tell him. You just want a whole new team.
Yes! Yes! We want a whole new team. But, again, it's going to be really interesting to see, see how things play out. And really, tomorrow, how excited are you about this year's NFL draft? And did it help that the NFL decided to move it back so late?
I don't know if it helped. It definitely didn't hurt it. I mean, we're all looking forward to the NFL draft. I'm definitely going to have a couple people over tomorrow. I'm going to make a few appetizers and make it a thing. So I'm excited. Even though there's not many exciting players in the draft, I'm looking forward to at least seeing the top 50 players before I get bored of it. Yeah.
Really? So you're having a draft party?
I'm not calling it a party.
Well, I mean, no. The only reason why I'm saying about that is it's so amazing because think about it this way. The NBA playoffs are in the middle, and we're focusing on a draft of an NFL season that's not going to start till September. I mean, it's just this is what the NFL is all about. I mean, I've gotten countless, emails about NFL draft parties that are taking place. In fact, there was something that started yesterday, a bowling event. There's an event today. It's an event tomorrow. This is something that engulfs the sports world. How unique would it be? Now, the NFL reportedly has been talking about possibly moving it around to different cities and stuff. How do you feel about that? Do you think it would lose some luster if it was outside of New York City?
I think they should just keep it. What do they do? A Radio City Music Hall? Just keep it.
Yeah, they do it at Radio Music City
Keep
Hall.
it like it is, because it's not, it's not All-Star. It's not the Super Bowl. Don't try to make it this huge thing that it's not. I mean, it's the NFL draft. Just don't leave it alone, just like it is. It's not a national holiday.
But it just becomes, I mean, Shantae, you're having an event. That's just a clear example of, I mean, think about it. These are what we do. It's a customary. It's not again, it's something that you're not the only one that's doing it. People have events centered around the NFL draft. And think about it this way.
What's funny?
It's only one round.
You know what's funny? People don't do it for the NBA draft, do they? Because I don't think I really watch the NBA draft.
No, and the crazy thing about it is, in the NFL and NBA draft, the players. You're pretty much a little bit more familiar than the players, and they will have perhaps an opportunity to have maybe a greater impact. I should say that, but again, the players a lot better than the NFL players, simply because they're not covered by helmets and stuff. So. No, you're right. They don't have it. And that's that's the beauty of the NFL in terms of their marketing stand. They've done an unbelievable job in what they've been able to do with their product.
I'm already getting emails from NFL.com of just like getting me excited for fantasy football, for the draft. They're already starting.
Do you ever see a situation like the NBA ever being able to be on a par with the NFL?
It has the potential, but the NFL just has a gift. I mean, they stay relevant all year round. You never get tired of it, and you just want more. I don't know what it is. They got something special.
Yeah, I just think that again, it's a unique situation. They have just the thing that, think about it. 16 games, which really captures people's imagination and attention. And yet the fact is, everybody is just glued to their television. And like you said before, you're going to have an event. Let's go. J.R. Holder's in the house. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Out there coaching in Russian. Them kids like, what is he saying, Coach?
JR, we had a Pittsburgh Steeler on. We were hoping you were going to be here earlier.
I know. I'm sick. I want to apologize to my boss right now. You know what I mean? My boss, I was late.
Brother, I'm never your boss, brother. We're equals. We're equal, brother.
I was supposed to be done. It was 6:30 to 8:30, man. I'm messing around. We went over. And like you said, I was hitting them with the Russian. Dos Vidanya, Dos Vidanya, blood. Come on, blood.
Well, you missed Will Allen. We spent a good portion of time talking to Will Allen, Pittsburgh Steeler, and really get some great insight. Let's stay with the NFL draft theme. DraftTech.com. Cole Muzio is joining us right now. Cole, welcome back to the Bottom Line Sports Show.
Hey, great to be on.
Thanks again for joining us. Cole, I'll ask you, can this be a draft that we have a lot of trades before and during the draft?
Yeah, last year we were talking about, a whole lot of teams wanting to trade down, and I think that's the case this year, except last year there wasn't a whole lot of people wanting to trade up for. But this year I think there's a number of intriguing players, Sammy Watkins, Johnny Manziel, Khalil Mack, Jadeveon Clowney, obviously, that are really going to draw some attention. So I think you may have a lot of teams wanting to trade up and get in the first part of the NFL draft.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Definitely it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think the Rams are a team looking to make some moves. Maybe the Texans, the Falcons, obviously may want to move up to take Jadeveon Clowney. So it'll be a very interesting draft. Some good trades, I think.
Yeah.
Cole, last year when we watched the draft, we saw the situation with the quarterback that went to the Jets. His name is escaping me right now.
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith, yeah.
Geno Smith. We watched his face and his emotion as, he thought he was going to go earlier in the draft. He wasn't picked time after time again. He had to wait a while. How much should we believe that the Louisville quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, will fall out of the first round? He's invited to the draft. I know the NFL tries to avoid these awkward situations. So do you think he goes in the first round?
Yeah, they try to avoid them, but at the same time, you're looking at, I think it was 32 guys they invited to the NFL draft. So, you got 32 first-round picks. Somebody's going to slide out of the first round. It may be Teddy Bridgewater. Right now, if I put together a mock draft, I think he may slide out. I think Draft Tech right now we have him going number 11 to the Titans. so he would avoid that situation. But there's a very realistic possibility he could slide out. You know, you're definitely looking, I think, Blake Bortles going ahead of him. Johnny Manziel will definitely go ahead of him, probably the first quarterback off the board. But then Derek Carr could also go ahead of Teddy Bridgewater. So, you know, you hate it for the guy, had a great college career, had a bad pro day, but he may be very realistically looking at sliding out of the first round.
Cole Muzio joining us here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. Gerald Brown, Shantae Cheeks, J.R. Holden. Upcoming Rita Hubbard here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. Go ahead, J.R.
What is the feeling that you have with the Houston Texans look to do tomorrow? Do you think they could trade their pick, or, you know, what are you thinking they're going to do?
Man, what they do could really set the tone for the rest of the draft. You know, last year it was definitely going to be Eric Fisher or Luke Jokel, number one of the Kansas City Chiefs. Wasn't a whole lot of intrigue. You know, it looked like it was going to be Fisher. This year, you know, I'd say it's a 60% chance or so they take Clowney, about a 20% chance they hold steady and take Mack, who may end up being a better player. 20% chance maybe they trade down. You know, that number may be higher. So we'll see. I mean, it really can set the tone for the draft. I think it's Clowney or Mack if they hold steady, probably Clowney or Mack if someone trades up and takes that number one pick. I think those are the two guys we may see go number one overall. But then, you know, it could be very intriguing. If they trade down, they may start looking quarterback. You know, they got a gaping hole there, and maybe a Blake Bortles or Johnny Manziel is available at 6 or 7, somewhere in there. Then maybe they start taking those guys.
Yeah, I have to go back to this whole notion about, you know, the NFL really tries to avoid that because they know who's going to go where and they get the information. But let's also keep in mind this: they want to be able to sell intrigue. They want to be able to have people hold on to the seats, and it's just something that, hey, it's not a bad thing at all. So I don't buy into that notion that the NFL is not, you know, aware of these things that's happening. Fox Sports reported yesterday, Cole, that quarterback Zach Mettenberger, Timmy Jernigan of Florida State, Anthony Johnson, and Telvin Smith and Kristen Jones, also of Florida State, failed the drug test at the scouting combine this year. How come this information is becoming public now, and how will it affect these guys' draft stock moving forward?
You know, I hate it for these guys because, you know, obviously they did something stupid. And, you know, you hate it when you got to scratch your head when these guys know when the NFL Combine is. They can plan their schedule around it. They know they're going to be drug tested. But at the same time, every year it comes out really late what happened with these guys. They don't get a chance to publicly defend themselves, really say what happened. They may not get a chance to make their case to teams. At the same time, I think most of these teams will probably already know about the failed drug test, so I don't know that their stock's really going to plummet too much. Timmy Jernigan, I think, is solidified himself as an elite tackle in the draft. I think he's one. His draft stock is not going to suffer as much, just because I think he solidified his position as a late first, early second round pick, maybe even middle of first round. The other ones that are a little bit more borderline, when you're deciding between a Zach Mettenberger, an A.J. McCarron, or a Tom Savage, you may go with the other two guys because he failed this test. When you start having those guys that are pretty evenly matched, you then as a GM start looking at it and going, you know, maybe I'll take the guy that I've got pretty closely rated to Mettenberger, but he didn't have this failed drug test. To me, the timing of it, knowing that the combine is there and still doing it anyway, that's to me the more red flag, because you got to wonder how motivated somebody is when they're doing it at that particular time.
Yeah, it's just really interesting. I don't know if it's agents that are involved in it or whatever, but you know.
Yeah, I hate it that it comes out so late. You know, it's always a strange thing that it happens right before the draft. It's just you hate it for these guys because they don't get a chance to defend themselves.
Yeah, unfortunately. Pretty Chate.
I'm sorry, G. Go ahead, take the next question.
JR, go ahead, JR.
GM Ozzie Newsome was clear about the Ravens' need for an inside linebacker. And with Alabama's C.J. Mosley considered the best inside linebacker in the draft, is this a guy that you think the Ravens must get, or do you think another team will probably jump on him before it gets to the Ravens pick?
Yeah, there's a possibility he may be sitting there at 17, and it would be very intriguing. Ozzie Newsome has a history of taking Alabama guys. You know, that's where he graduated from, and he's taken a number of them. Terrence Cody, he took a flyer on Rolando McClain last year, not in the draft, but signing him from the Raiders when he really had no reason to. So, you know, Ozzie Newsome likes those Alabama boys. He may take C.J. Mosley. They took Arthur Brown in the second round last year. They've got Darryl Smith. They re-signed him. Josh Bynes is a pretty good backup middle linebacker. I think they've got some bigger needs. Right now, I would pencil them in for maybe a guy like Calvin Pryor if he's available at number 17. But, C.J. Mosley's a realistic option. The Ravens, I don't think they've had a draft where they've had this many needs going in the first round in a while. They could address the cornerback position, defensive end. They could go middle linebacker. They could go safety. Right tackle is the biggest need, but I don't think any of the big three are going to be available. You look at Lawan, Matthews, Robinson, they'll all be off the board by then. Zach Martin will probably be off the board as well. So, that leaves them with their biggest need, not really getting value in the first round. Look for the Ravens maybe to trade down, see if they can get Morgan Moses or somebody like that later in the first round. But it'll be very interesting to see what exactly they do. C.J. Mosley's definitely in play. He may go off earlier, maybe as early as 9 to the Bills. But they could go a number of different directions with this pick. It'll be very interesting. You never know which one's a smokescreen. Whether he's indicating, I like Mosley, he's my guy, and they really have no intention of taking him. It's always difficult to tell what's real and what's fake. But C.J. Mosley will be a factor, number 17. I don't know if he's the guy, but a factor, definitely.
Cole Muzio joining us here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. DraftTech.com. Go to the website. Everything you want to know about the draft. Mock draft picks, they got it all up there, and I got a bone to pick with Cole in a few seconds, but I'm gonna let Shantae talk about it because I just saw something out there. I just saw what they're talking about taking with the 7th pick, and I'm not happy with that. I got to get on the phone with Lovey. I'm not happy with this. I'm not.
I'm ready in a few minutes. When you want to go ahead, man, I'm ready.
Cole, the St. Louis Rams, they have the number 2 pick. How much pressure is on GM Les Snead to hit a home run with this pick? Should they look to deal the pick if Clowney is already taken off the board?
Well, there's always a lot of pressure when you got an early pick, and the Rams do, and so there's going to be pressure. The good thing for Les Snead is they've got the number 2 pick, and there really is 4 elite players in this draft that keeps coming up, and people keep referencing it. It's true. I think there's a good solid 1B kind of group with Mike Evans, Jake Matthews, Taylor Lewan, Johnny Manziel, some other guys that are good 1B kind of group. Those 4 elite players, 3 of them will be available at number 2. Sammy Watkins and Greg Robinson, filling 2 huge positions of need, will both be available at number 2. I don't think he can go wrong with either one. He may look to deal down if Clowney's not available, although I think they probably shouldn't. Greg Robinson and Sammy Watkins are unique talents. I would hold steady at number 2. What they do with the next pick, I think, is going to be really interesting. And having another pick in the first round obviously alleviates some pressure because you can kind of miss on one and get on the other. But it's going to be real interesting to see. Are the rumors about them being really interested in Johnny Manziel, are those true? Are they going to really look to trade Sam Bradford? He got kind of a vote of confidence here recently, but those rumors are sticking around. And again, it's kind of smoke screens, what's real, what's not. But Johnny Manziel could be a factor at number 13, and they're going to have some interesting options. So right now, I think the Rams go Greg Robinson at number 2. I'm wearing my Auburn shirt today, so Greg Robinson, he's a massive, outstanding, athletic offensive tackle. He's going to be stellar for them. I don't think they can go wrong with that pick.
Yeah, I take it just so you're wearing your Auburn shirt, and I have to say I'm a Florida State fan.
Yeah, way to rub it in. I really appreciate that.
I'm sorry. But Cole, I got a bone to pick with you, Cole. I go to the website, drafttech.com. I get all my fix for what's the draft going to play out. Number 7, I'm expecting Mike Evans to be there. They just trade Mike Williams, the wide receiver out of Syracuse. I'm thinking that Mike Evans is there for us to take, not James Evans Jr., little brother, but Mike Evans out of Texas A&M. And you have Johnny Manziel there. Help me understand that. I can't see Manziel being a fit. We have McCall. We have Glenn in there. Glenn did okay. He needs time. Manziel, we don't need that. I can't understand. How would this be a good fit?
Yeah, it's real interesting. Right now, we've got Mike Evans going to the Raiders at number 5, and I think he's a really good pick for them, particularly if Watkins and Mack are off the board. So it'll be real interesting to see what the Bucs do. They could be kind of a turning point in the draft. The Falcons have definite needs at number 6, and every other team kind of has some more defined needs. The Bucs could go in a number of different directions. One of them is quarterback. Lennon held solid. They got McCown this offseason, so you're right. It's not a glaring need. But does Lovie Smith go? Johnny Manziel is the future of this program. I mean, this franchise. I don't know. It'll be very interesting. Mike Evans obviously maybe a better pick there at number 7. Aaron Donald's another guy to look out for at number 7. But Johnny Manziel on the board, at least that's an interesting trade spot. Maybe the Bucks look to move down. How would you feel about that?
Well, I think that if he's not there and if Khalil Mack is not there, I wouldn't have no problem with that. I think that, look, they only got 5 picks. Try to acquire some more picks. I think there's some depth there. You definitely need a tight end, but that's still it's too early to reach for a tight end. They need a wide receiver, but it's just, oh my goodness, I would be hurt. I mean, I've been hurt. I was hurt the year that Morris Claiborne, they was told we were going to take Morris Claiborne.
And who got him?
Yeah, no, we didn't get him. We got the young man out of Alabama, our safety and stuff. And, so I don't know. It just gave me a little nervous. But I want to ask you this before we let you get on out of here. Cole Muzio, DraftTech.com, joining us here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. Johnny Manziel, Tim Tebow, which one has been a bigger hype or just a bigger circus around in recent memory? Which one has been the most talked about one, in your opinion, coming out of college, getting ready for the pros at this point?
I think you probably got to give it to Johnny Manziel. Although it'll be interesting to see what the coverage is like with the NFL once he's in training camp and all that. I think there's a consensus that Manziel's a first-round player. There was not that consensus about Tim Tebow. So coming into the NFL draft, people wondered where he was going to go. But most people, even though he ended up going in the first round, didn't think he was going to end up there. So Manziel's going to be a real factor early. And so I think there's more hype about him. Obviously it's been a few more years for Twitter to develop and the social media, so there's a whole lot more talk. I think you got to give the nod to Johnny Manziel, and just behind him this year is Jadeveon Clowney. It's an interesting year where you got 2 guys that they're very talked about, very debated coming out of college. So it'll be a very intriguing draft. Who does Clowney suit up for? Who's Manziel suit up for? That's going to be some question. But yeah, it's no doubt 2 very controversial guys. Tim Tebow may be a little bit more controversial for not necessarily for his performance, but for other things. But definitely 2 talked about guys. So yeah, real intriguing couple of guys there. Now maybe to make you feel better, if the Bucks are sitting there at number 7 and the Rams really are in love with Johnny Manziel, maybe they trade down to number 13. And right there, maybe Odell Beckham Jr., some of these other guys, if you want wide receiver addressed, maybe that's Kelvin Benjamin.
No.
Maybe.
I don't want – here's the thing, Colin. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just can't. We had Michael Clayton. Remember Michael Clayton, the wide receiver out of LSU? I haven't seen a wide receiver out of LSU. I'm sorry. In recent time, that really has panned out. The young man that he was recently with the Carolina Panthers, Brandon LaFell. I love Brandon. No disrespect. Got love for Brandon. Great friend to the show. But I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen a wide receiver out of LSU yet that really is panned out. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't.
Well, you got a couple Florida State guys, maybe Kelvin Benjamin. Timmy Jernigan, a defensive tackle. You got your FSU guys, so keep them in the state of Florida.
It would be nice. It would be real nice. Cole, before we let you get on out of here, tell us what the Steelers are going to do, and then also tell us what the Cowboys are going to do with their first-round picks. First, the Steelers, Cole.
You know why. Wait to put the Steelers first.
Steelers first. All right, so maybe wide receiver. There's some talk about safety. Wide receiver is going to be a lot of options. Like, Odell Beckham Jr. I know that LSU guy. Maybe he doesn't produce. Brandon Cooks may be there. Kelvin Benjamin again, another realistic option. Although they may look for somebody faster. So number 15 wide receiver is an option. Safety is an option. Corner. Look at Darqueze Dennard out of Michigan State. They've got a number of other corner options. Wide receiver and corner, very deep positions, needs for Steelers. Maybe they go that direction. Cowboys. They'd love to address the defensive line. They'd love to address maybe get Anthony Barr if he's still available at number 16. That would be an incredible value. Aaron Donald, who I think is at the top of their board, is not going to be available. There's just no way he's going to be there at number 16. Jerry Jones, though, you never know what he's going to do, so he'll make something very intriguing happen. Johnny Manziel, who knows? They may try to trade up and get him. He won't be there at number 16, but maybe they try to trade up and do something a little bit crazy. Now that Al Davis is gone, Jerry Jones is the most crazy owner in the NFL, so he can make anything happen.
Yeah, give us a name before we let you get out of here. Cole Muzio, DraftTech.com. Make sure you check out the website. Outstanding source of information associated with this upcoming NFL draft. Make sure you check it out. Gerald Brown, Shantae Cheeks, J.R. Holden. Give us a name that is skyrocketing up the boards that you're hearing as of late that really could really surprise a lot of people come tomorrow.
Maybe Aaron Donald. I just mentioned him, and he's a guy that with draft tech. I think maybe we had him rated a little bit too low, too early. But there was a time period where he was available for teams like the Raiders in the second round, and that ain't going to happen. I mean, he's going to be gone pretty early. You start hearing him mention maybe even number 5 to Oakland in the first round. But you're looking at, Tampa Bay may have an interest, Minnesota may have an interest. He's not going to last very long. I think definitely by number 14, the Chicago Bears, he'll be gone, and that's a lot higher than he was projected at even not too long ago. He had an incredible combine. He's a guy that's rising up the board. Very intriguing guy to watch.
Yeah.
And let me give you another one. Tom Savage too.
Yeah.
That's quarterback out of Pittsburgh. Talking about later in the later rounds. Wasn't all that productive in college, but he just looks the part. He got a great arm. You may see him go second or third round, and that's not based on college production. That's a team going. I think 2 or 3 years down the road, he can be something. I'll cross my fingers, and maybe he can develop into a real good quarterback. So, second or third round, Tom Savage, if he's going in those rounds, it's not on college production. It's based on recent hype, based on what people think he could possibly one day do.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. Hey, Cole, listen, really, really appreciate having you on. I'm hoping and crossing my fingers that we can get you on next week because the draft is going to be over. We got to know who the winners or losers. And also help Shantae out with her fantasy football draft because she's going to need some help.
Really?
It sounds like you may need help.
I'm the one that needs help? Right, exactly, Cole. I'm not the one that needs help.
What happened is he drafted all the Tampa Bay Bucks players, and, that didn't help him too much. So.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, hey, Cole, listen, make sure you check out the website, drafttech.com. You can also hit up Cole on Twitter at Cole Muzio. That's M-U-Z-I-O. Outstanding follow. Cole, always a pleasure. Definitely look forward to talking to you real soon. Hopefully get you on next week, break down the draft, the winners and losers, and really set the tone of who we need to keep an eye out for next season's upcoming NFL year.
Sounds good. Thanks, Gerald, and I really appreciate you having me on.
Always a pleasure. Cole Muzio! Draft Tech. I feel better. I learned a lot more. I learned a lot. Johnny Manziel's not going to us. He's not
all
going.
you just learned is that the Bucks are going to be losers in the draft.
Womp womp.
Yeah. Okay, you finished? Shantae's been real good. She's been real good. I just want to know when you're going to do Vegas and MGM. And, maybe I could come out there and be the Sandman. Once I get my knee fixed, I could be the Sandman and just come out there with the cane and do all that stuff like the Apollo,
JR's here now. He can take over. I'm mad everybody missed all my jokes.
Oh, man. Joining us now, fresh off of her date, that's what you text me.
That is not what I texted you. That is not what I said.
Fresh off of her, again, she's the NFL chick. It's always a pleasure to have her on.
Hi, Rita.
Rita Hubbard joins us.
Let me speak to Shonda. I can't deal with you. I can't deal with you today.
What? What did I do?
I'm not here for your shenanigans.
Oh.
You're just Gerald. That's what you did.
Look, let me just tell you this. Don't take it out on me, what he did. All right? Don't take it out on us. All right? What he did and stuff like that. Learn how to separate the two, all right?
He didn't bring a coupon. He didn't bring a coupon on a date, did he, Rita? He didn't bring a coupon on a date, did he?
No. No, he didn't. But that's another story for another day.
So hold on, I got a question. So
wait a minute, hold on, JR. I got to answer this.
Coupons on dates. I don't know what's wrong with a coupon on a date. I need that discount. I might not get none, so I need that discount.
We can have that combo. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think this is the platform for it. That's all.
I'm just joking. I'm
Hey,
a coupon brother. That's all. I'm a coupon brother.
I ain't mad at you at all. Hey, it's nothing corny about saving money. It's never anything corny about saving money.
Hey, JR, all I was just going to say is she should have had a clue once she showed up and she realized he had his sweater wrapped around his waist, that should have been a cue. With some white jeans on.
You done? Are you done yet, Gerald? Are you finished?
I'm just trying to put a smile on your face. I'm just trying to put a smile on your face. Rita, so glad for you to join us. Rita, I want to ask you this because, again, we were talking so much in regards to the draft and just looking at the whole situation. Talk about the direction you think your team, the Baltimore Ravens, will go. You know, we were talking about Ozzie Newsome possibly taking C.J. Mosley, outside linebacker, I believe, inside linebacker. There's something that they desperately need. Where's the area that you would like to see the Baltimore Ravens really address?
I do think that the inside linebacker is a position that they could use upgrade in. Last year they drafted Arthur Brown, and he in the second round, I believe, and he hadn't really played a lot of snaps. I think that they consider him to be a guy maybe that they can mold into the future, but for right now, that is a big hole on this defense. I think that position and safety, particularly free safety, because Matt Elam is going to go to strong safety, which is his natural position, is a big void that needs to be filled as well. So it's interesting to see where they'll go in the draft. You know, Ozzie Newsome is a Bama boy. He loves Alabama players. So it'll be interesting to see if a guy like Ha Clinton Dix is available at that spot and he picks him up. But the thing about the Ravens, though, is that they don't really draft based on need. They draft on best player available. That's how they go. So they're going to take who is the best guy on the board, and if they don't care much for who's there at the time, if their top guys aren't there, they're going to trade down. That's usually the Raven way. So I wouldn't be surprised if like a guy like Ebron was there and they pick him up. Even though that's not a need, it would be a great tight end tandem for the National Football League with him and Pitta. So
yeah, it should be really interesting. Shantae, you guys 12-2, and we'll just go down.
Let's move away from the Ravens for a second. How much should we believe that quarterback Teddy Bridgewater? We were just talking about this with Cole. Last season, we saw the quarterback that went to the Jets.
I told you his name before.
What's
wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
Gino.
He's not a memorable brother. He's not a memorable brother. He's saying.
Rita, last draft season, we saw him, sitting looking sad faced because his name was never called, and it was a little embarrassing. And I feel like the NFL tries to stay away from that sort of thing. There's talk of Teddy Bridgewater falling out of the first round, but he is invited to the draft. How likely is it that he doesn't go in the first round?
There's always going to be a chance, just because.
See what happened? See what happened in that Walgreens, going to Walgreens, getting those minutes and stuff. See, she just all messed up tonight. See what happened, that dude? See what happened? He pulled out a coupon. She just went berserk on him. Oh no, you did. How you gonna bring me to Uno's and you gonna bring out a coupon?
Stop.
Did he say Uno's? Did he say Uno's?
With his sweater wrapped around his waist.
Oh God.
We'll get Rita Hubbard back, but I don't believe this whole notion that the NFL tries to avoid that. They like that because it sells intrigue. What was the whole notion before was that they didn't want the guys to be on the phones and stuff because if you saw them on the phone, you know that they were getting ready to get picked, so they tried to move away from that. You know what
I wonder? How many, when you get invited to the draft, how many athletes say no? Like, I'd rather be at home with my family. I don't want to be in New York.
Well, I think that, in that terms, and I mean, that is something, that's the NFL asking you to come. They want you to come because you're the newest face of that franchise. You mean to tell me you wouldn't go to New York?
I'm just saying, if there's a chance, if I'm not in the top 5 picks, I just rather be around my family and people who love me and not have to go put on a show. But I just feel more comfortable.
It's 20-some-odd picks, and I mean, JR, in those situations, the NFL asks players to be there. Would you stay home? I mean, if you're essentially going to be a first-round pick, it's a little bit different than basketball because a first-round pick, the lower seeds and stuff like that, yeah, you know, you're still acknowledged. Would you stay home, or would you? How would you prefer to as a football player? Would you
I
stay home?
I personally would go because it's only one time. You only get it's one time in your life, and at the end of the day, why wouldn't you go out there and take one chance at possibly being on a big stage, even if I was a borderline first round pick, just because you're only gonna be in New York in the NFL draft one time.
Yeah, it's one of those
You know, but
situations.
I mean, they still show you like Russell Wilson. He wasn't there. He showed him all
Well,
the
he was
times
a
when he
third
got
round
picked.
pick. He was a
Yeah,
third round
but
pick.
I mean, still, what I'm saying is, even if you're a good player or a bad player, you're still a part of the process. It's not like we don't see you. You get your name gets called and we see you.
Well,
You know.
I
It's
think it's
still something special about being in New York, Shantae. I think being home with your family there's nothing really that special about that. You've probably done that before. You're only going to get invited to New York one time, even if I mean Russell Wilson's the Super Bowl quarterback. He just won. He can't go back to that draft. He can't go back and sit in that room ever again. And I think that's the part of, hey, I was invited. I want to be a part of this because it's going to only happens once, and it only happens to a select amount of players every year.
I just think it's already nerve-wracking. You're already sweating bullets. You've been thinking about this for weeks. There's a bunch of distraction. People are yelling. There's all this noise. I don't know. It would just drive me nuts.
Shantae. Hey, wait a minute. You're from Springfield, Massachusetts. How you all of a sudden acting like you just from the isolated suburbs? Come on, Shantae. You act like you live in Madison, Wisconsin, or somewhere off the plain, like in some old prairie or something like that. You live in California. It's the same situation.
If
It's a
you're
celebration. Come on,
if you're
Shantae.
stressed out of draft, I don't want you as my NFL quarterback because you don't think you're going to
Yes.
be got thousands of fans.
Come on. No, that has nothing to do with your skill level. All these players are stressed out right now. Come on. That's what I'm saying. Unless you know for sure I'm top 5, it's no worries. And I'm just
But
going really to party and for the
I think that's the
experience.
woman in you, Shantae. They're not
exactly.
stressed. They just don't know where they're going. The stress only comes from, I don't know what team I'm going to. Not that I'm not getting drafted.
Yes.
First 20 picks, they know they're getting drafted
You're
probably.
getting
It's
drafted.
where am I going? And
Okay,
that's
so
the nerve-wracking part.
today, if you're Teddy Bridgewater, there might be a chance that you're not drafted in the first round. And every 5 seconds, they're going to pan the camera to your face every time your name's not called. That's
But you
annoying.
know what? That might listen. Look what happened to Aaron Rodgers. Look what happened to Aaron Rodgers that sat there. Okay, there are situations where they occur that guys might end up just going there, and the team might feel, upset and just feel bad for you. Rita Hubbard is joining us back again.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay. You're having a rough day.
I'm having I'm having a rough day.
But you know what? The beauty of it all, and I mean this sincerely, you can be able to smile about it because you're amongst friends, and you know what? You're doing something that you truly love, which is talking about the NFL. Shantae just made you need to school her, Rita. Shantae just said that if she was
I asked the question. Let me ask it.
well, thank you. Looking like Sheila E.
I take that as a compliment.
It is.
I'm asking, with Geno Smith last year, watching him, and his name didn't get called over and over again, and the camera kept panning to his face. I honestly felt sorry for him. Like, it was sad. I thought he was going to cry. And they wouldn't stop putting the camera in his face. Now, I'm wondering how many players that get called to the draft decline and say, you know what, I'd rather be home with my family. And if you're somebody like Teddy Bridgewater, where you might not get, there's a chance that you don't get picked in the first round, do you choose to stay home or do you just go anyway?
That's hard. I mean, in a situation with a guy like Teddy who has plummeted way down, and I really have never seen somebody go down so far in my life. I mean, that's always possible, but I liked his response. I think someone asked him, and he was just like, "No, I'm going to be there. I don't care. I'm just happy to be there," and that's a good outlook. We've seen guys in the past. I can remember Joe Thomas, the offensive lineman for the Cleveland Browns. He's projected to go really high, and I believe he went top 10. And he went fishing with his dad. He was invited to go, and he was like, nah, I want to do something else. So you have guys that really aren't interested in the whole New York, scenario and that things and such. But I like Teddy Bridgewater to still go in the first round. In my opinion, he's the most NFL polished quarterback out of the group. Okay, so he had a bad day, a bad pro day or whatever, and that didn't help the situation. But the film doesn't lie, and if you look at the film, it says he's the most ready out of all of the ones available. So I think some team eventually will get it together and say, ultimately we want a guy that we think that can win some football games, and he'll get taken maybe in the bottom of the first round.
But Rita, if you're in that situation, what would you do? Because I mean, it's almost like a slap in the face of the NFL, because when you're one of the top picks, they're saying that you're one of the projected players to come into the league, and you're going to you're reflecting the NFL. And if you don't show up, I mean, it hurts the sort of the brand and what they're selling to everybody tomorrow night in terms of that. You're in that situation. What would you do?
I mean, if I'm him, I'm making the best of it. I don't know exactly what I would be doing, but
would you go?
Yeah, I would go. I mean, people are going to watch because they're going to see how far he goes, whether it be, top 10 or if he goes out of the first round. So people are going to watch for that, and people are going to watch for his reaction every time a quarterback is picked ahead of him, if that happens tomorrow. So it's must-see TV for so many different reasons, but if I'm him, if they keep coming at me, I'm going to be smiling. Hey, you want to do an interview with me? I'm going to be pop-locking. I'm going to be doing all types of stuff. Like, you're not going to let me get down, because ultimately he's going to have a plan. And his plan is whoever picks him, he's going to make sure that the other 31 teams pay for it. So I would go. I mean, that's the risk that you take when you accept that invitation, and he knows that that's a possibility. I think that he is confident, though, that that won't happen. But if it does, I'm curious to see how this all pans out. And I hope he does go, and I hope he does pop lock for real. Like, do it.
I think it works in his favor, because
Me too.
Yeah, some people will sit back and feel remorse, and I mean, it says a lot about his character. I mean, it just would be really interesting. Johnny Manziel, are you buying the hype, Rita? I mean, it's been all about Johnny Manziel. It's apparent that he will be perhaps the first quarterback to go. Are you buying the hype with Johnny Manziel?
No, and I say that
because he's not from Florida. Yes, I know you was going to say that.
No,
I know you was going to say that.
That's not why I'm saying that. I love watching Johnny Manziel play football. I'm a big college football fan. I watched Manziel play his 2 years, and I love what I see in the college game. I just don't know if that translates to the NFL. He's small. He's not 6 feet. They want us to believe he is, but he's not. He's probably 5'11". He's a fragile young guy. He has a tendency to escape the pocket when there's phantom pressure. And in the NFL, if you can get somebody to believe that you're getting pressure on them and you're really not, that's a recipe for a disaster. He loves to escape the pocket. He loves to throw the ball when there's really nobody available. It just so happens that he got lucky a lot of times. But ultimately, Manziel is the human joystick, is what we was calling him. I just don't think that his body and his mind frame is going to carry him past 3 seasons of being healthy in the National Football League if he continues to play the way he does. And then we keep hearing that he wants to go, that Cleveland, is looking at him, which in the AFC North, we know that that's a division solely based on defense. Yes, the Steelers have had a down year, but we know that they'll be back, especially defensively. The Ravens were pretty decent last year, and the Bengals were top 5 in defense. So I just don't think that this guy can last in the AFC North. And if he goes anywhere else, I just don't know how he's going to be able to translate that recklessness that he does once he escapes the pocket and make a long-lasting career out of it.
Yeah, it should be really interesting. Rita Hubbard, you can find her on Twitter. Go ahead, at the NFL Chick. Rita Hubbard at the NFLChick.com. It should be a really interesting draft. Give me an ideal team that you think would be a good fit for Johnny Manziel. I think the Dallas Cowboys.
It would have to be like somebody like the Steelers, because he plays similar to Ben Roethlisberger. He's not as big as Ben Roethlisberger, obviously, but they have a lot of similarities in how they play. The toughness in which they play with, the way that they can escape the rush. But look at Ben's career. He's been injured a lot. You know, he's had some hits, and he's a big guy. That's a big dude. So I'm not really sure if Manziel is the type of guy that could take those same hits. But if you put him on a team that has an established quarterback that doesn't need a quarterback to start right away, like Pittsburgh, because they're typically a smash mouth type team, even though their run game hasn't been up to par in recent years, they're still always going to want to run the football first. If they put them on a team like that already has a similar philosophy and a quarterback that has similar traits to him, I think he'd do really well, and he can sit on the bench and learn. I think if you put him in the fire in the beginning, I think he'll be great. I think that, you know, teams won't really have an understanding of what he can do because they'll see it live. But eventually, you know, that's going to catch up with him. We saw it with Mike Vick, and I think that we'll just I think that what happened to Mike Vick, I think that was his third year when he got hurt in preseason. I think the same thing is going to happen to Manziel unless he changes his game.
Yeah. You know, one of the things is I'm so glad that we had Will Allen on before he came. That would have been some great.
It would have been.
Yeah, Will Allen of the Steelers, and then JR here, so it would have been two Steelers.
They would have been trying to beat me up, but you know.
No. I mean, tell us about this date. What happened?
There is no date.
No, I'm going to say something real quick.
Okay.
You going to quit throwing these little low blows?
Thank you.
I'm going to let it go. I leaned back on the first one. Now, the second one, I got to say something. The first one, you said, you know what? They ain't really that good the last year. By one game.
She was doing the Madonna, huh?
Then you hit me with the they running game been trash for the last few years.
That is not what I said.
Oh.
Yes, you did.
Okay, here's the thing. If I'm lying, call me out. Give me some numbers. If I'm lying, call me out.
Tell him facts only, Rita.
Look, I don't got no numbers, but I know we was up there with the Ravens. I know that. I don't have no numbers.
Well, that ain't good then.
Wow.
Look, we was 30th in the league in rushing. So if you was up there with us, then yeah, sit down.
You're talking about last year. You're talking about last year. Last year we was better than y'all. I mean, we not even gonna talk about y'all running game.
Yeah, but it wasn't by much. It wasn't by much.
We had no name people.
Don't be proud of that. That's not what to be proud of.
Eating off the Ravens. We was eating off the Ravens last year. We was like them. Like that's what we beat y'all with Charlie Batch. We was like, we don't even need our trash squad to get y'all.
Oh,
you're right. You're right. Are you done?
Gerald is such an instigator.
Hey.
I hurt your little feelings. I'm so sorry.
As long as I get the apology, I don't care how I get it. As long as I get it, I'm good.
But listen, y'all. Listen, and all of that, he ain't hear nothing that I said, because even with what I said, I did say that they've been down defensively, but they'll get back. I believe that. They're known to be a team that runs the football. They're known to be a team that's good on defense. Okay, so they had a bad year or two, but I'm saying to you that I don't think that that's going to last long. You just forgot all that. All you heard was what I said, and then just stopped right there.
JR, seems like she's trying to clean it up now.
No, I'm not. I don't got to clean it up.
Gerald is terrible.
This is better than the Madonna Mayweather fight. I tell you that right now. Rita, I'm so sad that you had a terrible day, but you know what? Hopefully the day comes to a close. You were able to have some laughs and really, come on, again, you should have known this. You go out a dude in May with some white jeans on with a little, with his bottom of his pants rolled up. You should have known that.
Stop telling stories, Gerald. Stop it.
Come on.
Stop telling stories.
But you're coming up for the draft, right?
Yes, I am. I'll be there tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'll get to see where everybody goes.
Okay. Well, I tell you this. Enjoy the trip. It makes you put a smile on your face. You're coming to New York. Hey, I told you about going on them Twitter dates and stuff. All right, leave that
alone. It wasn't even a $200 date. It was a Groupon date. Looking at a certain somebody over there.
And then he had the nerve to ask you to lead a tip, right?
Right.
Hey, he got to go to work in the morning. Rough day. You gotta go to work
JR
in the morning.
approves the Groupon date we see.
Hey, JR. Evidently, she was okay with it because you know what? She still got him on her mind. He messed her head up. You see that? He messed her head up. He messed her head up. She like this. Damn, am I wrong? Or did I do something wrong?
Man, that's why he had to go out tonight. He couldn't go out no other night because the Groupon got a certain fate.
It was about to expire, huh?
Hey, girl, you can have an extra set of wings and stuff like that, or fries, but don't get crazy.
Hey, he is like, whoa, no steak. That ain't.
It's a shame. I couldn't even get the Fago the Child Groupon. Come on, man.
Oh man, it's unbelievable. But listen, Rita, safe travels.
Thank
Definitely,
you.
I'll see you up here. I'm hoping you'll be here this Saturday. When you going back?
Saturday,
What time?
early. It's Mother's Day weekend. I'm somebody's mother.
I know, but that's Sunday, Rita. You can't go back Saturday afternoon.
I mean, gee, good Lord, Gerald, get out her schedule.
I mean, you know, I
It's
want
a
to go
Groupon
spend
flight.
Mother's
It's a
Day
Groupon
with my
flight.
people.
Sheila E., leave me alone. Rita, safe travels again. Thank you so much for joining us, and I definitely look forward to talking to you, especially next week to find out the winners and losers of the NFL draft.
Absolutely.
Hair looks lovely.
Thank
See?
you.
See?
I appreciate it.
You got it all done for that dude, and he's sitting up there talking about you can only get a hot dog and some French fries with
I
that,
know.
right?
I'm telling you. I know how to pick them, don't I?
Take care, Rita. Safe travels. I'll see you this weekend.
All right, y'all. Talk
Rita
to you
Hubbard in the house. Hey, guys, I know we're going over a little bit, but I really want to just get your thoughts and opinions. I want to ask you a couple questions before we close it out. I want to go back to some really information. Okay, Indiana was able to tie the series up. JR, do you have any hope that possibly Indiana could still win this series?
I think Indiana's going to win the series. I think Washington is a good team. I think they're still a year away, I think, my personal opinion, but I think the Pacers can win this series. I think they got to duck tonight, and I think tonight was very important. Takes a little pressure off of them going into D.C. So I still like the Pacers to pull out a win, and if Roy Hibbert can play the way he did tonight, they'll win this series.
Yeah, Shantae, are the Clippers the deepest team still in the playoffs, not the Spurs?
By the way the Spurs played last night, they look deep. I don't know if they can do that every game though, so I gotta go with the Clippers, definitely.
Yeah. JR, put your coaching hat on since you're coaching. How do you get the Portland Trailblazers and the Brooklyn Nets to get a much-needed W in Game 2?
I'd rather take the Blazers over the Nets, so I'm going to say...
No, you coaching both teams, JR. You multi-versatile. Come on, JR.
The Blazers, reality of it is, I think they really realized what playoff basketball is all about, so I think they'll be better in Game 2. You got to think, Houston was a team where it was really mano on mano. They played a team last night that plays team defense, that does things as a team, and I think they picked up on that, and they realized it's playoff basketball. I would really say they got to go inside out. I think Aldridge can't take as many jump shots. He has Splitter on him and Baines. He got to go a little bit more closer to the basket, not those fadeaway jumpers he took against Osik and guys for the Rockets. I also think Wesley Matthews and Batum got to play the way they did last series. I don't think Lillard's going to be the difference maker this series. I think Matthews and Batum have to win their matchups, and not because Danny Green is not that good, but Batum got to be better than Danny Green if they want to win this series. Wesley Matthews has to step up and play well against who's the starting two? Has to at least even out Leonard, Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, or Manu Ginobili. I think, it's one of those situations where clearly it was so foreign to them because now you're coming to a situation where you played against a Houston team that really didn't play any type of team defense, but yet the fact is now you're thrust in there, and it's going to take a few minutes for the Portland Trailblazers to get themselves acclimated, but they got to get a win tomorrow. Shantae, we talked about the emotional speech that Kevin Durant had again put out there yesterday. In his speech, he announced the MVP. It seems like right now it's 52-51. If this is a must game for the Oklahoma City Thunder, is this a situation, if you're the coach in Doc Rivers, you're coaching the Clippers, do you try to make sure you just try to stand the tide, really just be able to withstand the emotional outpush, the outcome, the outsource that they will come out with in that first half, and then really try to steal game two as well?
I think it's smart for Doc to go ahead and steal game two. This is a must-win for OKC. If they go down two to the Clippers, they're not going to win the series. The Clippers are too good right now. They're determined. That they're playing with a purpose. Kevin Durant and that squad, I think the speech helped them. The first game they were getting dogged. They have to win or they lose the entire series.
Yeah, it's just going to be really interesting to see how it's going now. Right now it's 52-51. It should be interesting to see how it continues to play out. Mother's Day is right around the corner. Shantae, I want to take this opportunity, and even though I know I'll definitely send you a text, but I want to make sure that you have a beautiful and blessed Mother's Day.
Appreciate you, girl.
And JR, again, the missus just really gave birth. Extend a happy Mother's Day to her as well. And also just remember one thing. Father's Day, for us, JR, everything continues on. Mother's Day?
For Mother's Day.
No. Mother's Day. Look, my kids will have it. My kids have baseball games and softball games. They got baseball games, basketball games. All that stuff stops. Father's Day? Oh, it's a part of the routine.
That's because every day is Father's Day. But let me tell you, I will be at a softball scrimmage early Mother's Day morning, and the night before my daughter turns 13, so she's having a night party. Ends at midnight, and I got to get up at 8 in the morning to go to a softball game. So I'm hoping for Mother's Day I just get a nap, like some peace and quiet.
The things we do for our little ones. Definitely some interesting. JR, what's your bottom line for tonight?
Bottom line, man, we've been dealing with a lot of adversity here in the state, especially in the sports world. Mark Jackson getting fired undeservingly, the whole Donald Sterling thing. Even with all that said, I spent a lot of time in Europe. There's no place I would rather live than America. So at the end of the day, I know we're going through a tough time, at least in the sports world. We've had a lot of incidents with the whole racism thing, kids being killed. There's still no other place I would rather be. So at the end of the day, I really feel like us as a whole, not just black people, white people, Spanish, Puerto Rican, all types, just need to continue to come together and grow and learn each other, because this is place in America. It's no other place like it, and I don't want it to change.
Yeah, well said. And I mean, Shantae and I have debated back and forth in terms of the injustice that was done with Mark Jackson. And sometimes I've always said, personal feelings, you need to be put aside. And we've seen some great organizations go down simply because of issues that they couldn't work out. And I give you a perfect example of that, too, that come right off to mind. Shantae, you're the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. Those issues affected that franchise to the point that they still haven't been able to recover from that. Even though they went on and won a couple of more Super Bowls, they were still never the same. And it could have been something that could have been resolved. And then as well, another one, Phil Jackson with the Chicago Bulls. This is a guy that should have never been coaching any other team outside of the Chicago Bulls. And to see that situation deteriorate and see the way it was left is very, very unfortunate. And once again, you have a situation that's occurring, and who knows? But I have no faith that they will be able to continue the success that they have in Golden State, especially if they don't get the right person, because the bar has been set so high that this person is going to have to win at least 50-plus games next season, and then essentially in their second season, you're going to start the debate with the situation occur, paying guys like Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. So, JR, you hit it right on the head, and I echo those same sentiments. Shantae, what's your bottom line for tonight?
Bottom line tonight, it's Mother's Day, so I'll take a second to pat myself on the back.
Can you show us? Go ahead.
My oldest is 16, and when I had her, I was young. I was in college playing basketball. It was just her and I. I was a single parent for a while before I actually got married, and I just feel like I've done a great job. She's just a great kid, and we just found out that she got accepted to UCSB for a summer program and got a scholarship. So I feel like my hard work has paid off tremendously.
Yeah, definitely got to salute all the good
Yeah.
moms out there.
Yeah, absolutely, because I come from a single parent household and a single mother, and I know one thing, is sometimes I think when you get older as an adult, you don't take you look back on and you be appreciative all the sacrifices that mothers do and they make and stuff. And again, congratulations, and you've set a fine example for her moving forward. So definitely pat yourself on the back. And as you say, you know what? Every day should be Mother's Day, and it's one of those things. But still, I gotta say, Father's Day, everything go cut the yard, go cut the grass. You can run an errand. It's just your day. It's every day Father's Day. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that at all. So enjoy the draft. It starts tomorrow. Again, make sure you check out Spreecast.com, 10 Inc. Friday, you guys started early last week. I mean, what's the time this week here?
Shantae, man, she get her nails done on Friday and her hair done, so we got to schedule it.
Speaking of that, JR, I do need to go early this Friday. We need to get it on early.
See what I'm saying, G?
I got things to do.
Look at her. The pleasure principle. Oh.
Hilarious.
Oh, that about wraps up the show. Shantae, again, enjoy Mother's Day. All the single mothers out there, or just in general, all mothers out there, enjoy the Mother's Day. It's been a great show. I'd like to thank Will Allen, Cole Muzio. I'd like to thank Rita Hubbard. And more importantly, we'd like to thank you for checking out the show. Make sure you check out Spreecast.com, 10/8. The show is at what time, JR?
12 o'clock p.m. Eastern.
12 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. They doing the noonday thing, so check it out.
Ain't nothing like that nooner, man. Quick lunch break, baby.
For J.R. Holder, Shantae Cheeks, I'm Gerald Brown saying thank you so much. Bottom Line Sports Show out. We'll see you next Wednesday. Peace.